What's up, Hooksetters? Welcome back to another episode of Hooksetter TV. I don't do a lot of these informative videos, I guess, and I'm not gonna really say it's really informative, but just preference videos, because I'm gonna just go over what I'm doing is just going over the baits that I choose to keep on me. You know, keeping my tackle box, my backpack, whatever you may carry. These are baits I keep on me 12 months out of the year, 365 days. No matter what time of year it is, these baits are effective and they really, really work. No particular order, but I'm gonna just go through some. Hopefully it help you, especially now when fishing is tough. Guys are out there kind of struggling and excuse me, they're catching, maybe get a bite or a bass. These baits should get you bit more if you fish them right and efficiently. You should get more bites. So with that being said, I'm gonna start with the first bait, and that's gonna be a Ned rig. A Ned rig, small hook, Ned rig head. They come in a couple sizes, but nothing too big. It's meant to be a real small bait. The TRD, the turds are one of the smallest baits you could find. Open hook. So that kind of limits you on where you can use it. You can use it open bottom, fine. Structure, fine. The crazy part about this is it really excels on rock, but with the open hook, you know how that goes. Chance you may get caught up. It dances on top of the rocks. It gets in between the rocks very, very well. But you have a big, big chance and a great chance of you losing your bait because of the open hook. But with that being said, first off, Ned rig. The color I have on is just a chartreuse and green pumpkin. The color is important, but I can't really tell you what colors to grab. That kind of depends on your lake, your water clarity, and what the fish are really seeing or what they're biting. So that's going to be up to you. So first bait, year round. January through December, Ned rig's going to work. And one thing, you fishing it slow, it's so small, it has great action coming up off the bottom and it stands up when it's on the bottom. So since you're pretty much fishing slow anyway, January through December, this is a great bait to start with. So Ned rigs, go get you some Ned rigs. Next one. Let's do I'm gonna go with the jerk bait. Jerk baits on me all the time. All the time. Reason why a jerk bait works all year is because you technically are supposed to fish these slow. When jerk baits were made, the great thing about them was it wasn't too many, well actually I don't know of any bait that they had that's suspended in water. Depending on the time of year or if the fish are real lethargic and, you know, their metabolism is low and they're not really feeding or they're just eating big and then slowing down, you can sit this right in the school of suspended fish. This is not a bass. This is food. This is a meal. These are meals. So if you can't really think of another bait you can just suspend and sit in a group of fish if they're stacked up and have it sit there. So that's why these work so well. The reason why I have two is to show you guys the build difference. They make them different sizes. The jerk bait itself, they can get very big. They can go to a couple inches to, 5 to 6 to bigger than that. But the thing that makes them work the way they do or where they go is going to be the bill size. This one, of course, is going to run deeper than this one. Throughout this video, I'm also going to keep it boat to bank fishermen because I don't think a lot of people do that. A lot of times when I started, I was on foot, so I learned so much. I lost so much gear. I did so many things wrong being on foot, but you learn a lot. So that's the one positive thing about fishing from the bank. When I do fish from the bank using the jerkbait, I'm gonna pretty much not go too deep. And the reason being, I'll kind of use this one as a bank. If you're on shore here, and you're bringing a jerkbait, because that's what it does, it stops. It never even really comes up to where you have to go back to the ground. So let's say you get down to where you want to be and it stops. You want it to keep going, and it's going to keep diving as you work the jerkbait. If it's too deep, the deep ones, they shoot to the bottom. So the chances of you not getting caught up with your jerkbait doing like this to the bank, wherever it may be, however many feet down, you get lucky if you don't get hung up. And that's what this one is going to do to you. So I want to stay kind of shallow. So it get down, but even if it's here, it's suspended this way, and it never gets to the bottom of the lake or reservoir, wherever you may be fishing. So shore fishermen, I always say start small, go bigger. If you start feeling the rocks in the bank as you went bigger, go back a size and then keep it at that one. I believe you want one that goes low as you can, but not low enough to touch the bottom. I think you're gonna lose a lot of bait doing it that way. Guys on boats, excuse me, are the opposite. Because your boat, you'll be fishing it this way. So when you go down, all you're doing is going down with the bank, no matter how deep you get, depending on how deep the jerkbait gets. So you're pretty much safe if you're fishing from the boat, if you're fishing it the right way. And if you get in a school, these are great baits to sit in a school. If you get a school of 10 bass just sitting there and I really want to eat, but you can get him making noise and sitting in the middle of them for 30 seconds every time you move it, it's a good chance you're going to get a strike. So jerkbait year round. Of course, as it warms up, you can speed fish them. You can pop. You can 3 seconds, 5 seconds in the middle, pop. If they're eating, they're going to chase. They're going to attack it. Just their ability and their natural habitat is for them to attack it. When it gets cold, slow down and use your suspend. That's what they do. They suspend. Use the suspend that they give you and do it that way. So as it's warm, you can pretty much power fish these. You know, you can fish it fast, pop. You know, fish it real fast. Fast. Fish when it's warmer, you know, at a certain time of year when it's much warmer, fish are just eating anything moving and they're chasing, so you're okay. But when it gets cold and everything slows down, that's where jerkbait excels, because you have that suspension function that it just sits. It sits. You can have a bass under it, you can have a bass on top of it, a bass right behind it. A lot of times they're so strong they'll just study it, but it stays where you want your bait to be and where the fish are. So these really excel, and you can do damage with this even in the colder months, into the late falls, to the winters. You know, these still work very, very well. So make sure you keep a jerkbait in your arsenal. Very important. Next, I have a lipless crank. This is craw color, and I've actually caught fish on here. Sorry. So, you change the way you fish with this. It's the same bait, but different ways to fish with it depending on the type of year and, of course, fish behavior. Warmer months, when it starts, you know, the water warms up a little bit, or fish are pre-spawn and they're about to, you know, get on beds and they want to feed up and they're actually chasing stuff, cast out, and you retrieve it. I always say you like to feel, if it's grass, you like to feel the grass. If you pick up a little bit of grass on your hooks but not the bait, you're where you want to be. If you feel it on the bottom and it's hitting a rock, you're where you want to be. It's kicking up dust, it's making noise, and fish, they hate it. I guess they hate the noise. They want to be the only ones out there causing ruckus. They'll go ahead and they'll chomp it, they'll inhale it. When it cools down, this turns into a jig, or the next bait I'm going to show you, some type of blade bait.
Says tung tung. Tung. Tung tung. Did I get him that time? Yep. That time I got him. That time I got him. That time I got him. Yep. Feel like a pretty nice fisher. Feels like a pretty nice fisher though. Yes it is. Yes it is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, all right. Well, all right. Well, all to the right. Okay, okay. Okay, 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 okay. That's a nice spotter. Well, all right. Well, all right. Pretty nice spotter, baby. Pretty nice spotter. Yes, it is.
You can actually throw this out and just let it hit the bottom. Jump it up, hit the bottom. Pull it up, hit the bottom. So all you're doing is jigging elliptis. It's another form of, like I said, a blade bait. Guys on shore, it works, but you're gonna lose bait. You're doing this and it's coming towards you. It's coming towards you. So as you do that and it goes up, these hooks, these trebles are going to catch something. That's what they're for. They're hooks. They're meant to catch something. Not the ground, which is what you're going to catch, but they're meant to catch something. So jigging it basically uphill back to the bank if you're on foot or on land, it works, but just be prepared to go ahead and purchase you a lot of them because you're going to lose some. And it comes with fishing, but it works. It's very effective. I've caught a bunch of fish using this method, you know, on boat and land. Of course, I lost more lures on land, but they've been effective. With the color, you just want to match your hatch. Crop color you can't beat, especially towards the colder months or fall, into the colder months into winter. Crop color is good, but when you do have the active bait fish and the, you know, silver shad or the minnows or whatever it is, wherever your lake is, you can go to the shad color, you know, the silvers or the chartreuses, bluegill color, just anything, depending on what your fish are eating, you can jig those as well. And you just, like I say, you just go up and down. And what it's imitating, I believe, is either a fish, you know, going up and down, just picking stuff up at the bottom and feeding off little whatever it is, particles, whatever it is they may eat, or it's a wounded or a dying bait fish. Easy meal. Fish see it, it doesn't get any easier than something that can't go anywhere because it's not doing well and it's wounded. Fish inhale it. You're going to catch fish. Let it sink. We hit that point about the time. I'm going to throw some soft stuff on for my last 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I might even cast in the middle real fast and jig it. See what happens. You'd be surprised. Be surprised what jigging a crankbait to do. Let me see if I can get one to bite jigging it. If I don't get caught up first or hung up. If you never jig a crank, give it a try. Believe me. There it is. Like I said, jig it. Like I said, you gotta jig it.
He didn't even hit the bottom. Let's see if he stays on. I hate when you catch them deep on cranks. That's why they say tight lines. See if I can get them in. Jig it, baby. Jig a crank. You gotta try it. I don't even know how big he is, but see if I can get him in and show you guys what he looked like. He's just foul hooked. He's a baby. Actually, I think it's a crappie. It's a crappie. It's a crappie. But where there's crappies, guess what else there are? Bass. It's a baby crappie. Jig it. Let it fall and jig it. Jig your lipless. We'll make a song called Jig Your Lipless. Jig your lipless. That's a bass. Now that's a bass. That's a bass. Jig your lipless. Jig your lipless. Not that big, but it is a fish. It's a bass. Jig your lipless. Jig your lipless. On the song, baby. Jig your lipless. Oh, you bastard. Kind of on the same lines as this is going to be the blade bait. All year, blade bait works. And it's the exact same thing. Jig down, up. Jig down, up. Jig down, up. I try to keep my jigs length probably no more than a foot. I don't want to go any higher than a foot. If you go higher than a foot, the chances of you going up and it falling, catching the line, depending on what size line you're losing, is pretty. If you go too high, it's gonna get caught up and it's gonna wrap around this back hook. So then it's not gonna swim right because then it's gonna be all messed up and the fish aren't even gonna look at it because they have no idea what the hell it's doing. So like I say, I'm gonna go no more than a foot. No more than a foot. I've killed off of these year round. I always grab it. Fall and winter, I grab these right away. This is the best bait I like to use during fall and winter. This is my favorite. But if I'm on land, I kind of have to go towards something else because you're gonna lose this bait. These treble hooks are sharp as hell. You're gonna lose so many. They're pretty inexpensive, but if you're like me, you don't like to lose anything. I prefer to keep this bait forever till the paint come off and just keep changing the hooks if I have to. But I don't want to lose it. You know, you spend money on it, you want to keep it. It's kind of like anything in your other possessions. You want to make sure you take care of it. But blade baits, get your blade bait, jig it, and see what happens. If it's grass, it's not really gonna work. It's gonna go into the grass. It's gonna pick up too much grass. Like, it doesn't know to stop where the grass is. It's gonna dive deep into the grass and it's gonna pick up a bunch of grass, and that's all you're gonna keep coming up with. But if you could get to rock, if you could throw it around wood, if you could throw it, you know, if it's dirt bottom with patches of a little bit of grass or grass particles, if you could fish it when they're spawning and throw it on the bed and let it dance, they're gonna hit it. They just, I don't know why they work so well, and I know the gist of what it's doing, but these blade baits are amazing and I love them. So this time of year especially, throw you a blade bait. Like I said, they come in multiple colors as well. You kind of want to match where you at with your fishing, water clarity on what you're gonna throw.
So blade baits. Next to last, everybody's favorite, a jig. Where I am right now, bright colors is working, so brown and orange is good, but there's nowhere you can't throw a jig. The only thing you want to figure out is what size jig head you want to throw. You know, if you want to go bigger, smaller. Everybody knows they have a bunch of size jigs, so you kind of have to determine where you're tossing it, you know, on what side you're going to throw. And then, of course, color, water clarity. Murky, dirty water, dark colors, black and blue, black and red. Another dark color I found that worked well is black and Junebug, the kind of purplish. I've done so well with that, and I've never really used it before, but it works amazing. If your water's clear, go more natural colors, green pumpkin, you know, colors of that, watermelon, things like that, if it's a natural color. So, jig, you kind of want to match the trailer, I guess, to what I like to do is match my trailer to the majority of the skirt. So I think majority of this has kind of a dark brown in it, so I would throw like a dark brown beaver or some type of brush or something, you know, just at the bottom of it, if you want to give it a little more profile. The skirt's going to open up, and they're going to see that beaver bait as a trailer as it's, you know, it gets open. These work well also when the water's really moving, because you can sit it, and these are going to move just because the water's moving. You don't even have to do anything, and it's giving you action. And when you pull it up and it goes down, that skirt shoots up, and it looks like an umbrella. It gets big, and a lot of time I think that's why people get hit either on the fall or on the pickup, and then it go back down. Once that skirt flares up, the fish see it, and they just inhale it. So of course, use your jigs. Last but not least, all-time favorite of a lot of people is the drop shot. I have this one this long from the weight to the hook for a reason, and it's not because I like it. The reason why I have it this way is I see a lot of guys do this. I personally don't, especially since a lot of people use like robo worms or worm type baits on the drop shot. When you do that, it goes down, hits the bottom, and then eventually your worm floats. Then when your line kicks up, the worm goes up, then it floats. The worm goes up, then it floats. So what that's portraying is a worm swimming. I don't know if anybody has. I've never seen a worm swim. So I hate having it that high because I don't think that's natural. Until I see a worm in the water swimming like a fish, I'm not going to put it this high. With that being said, you can drop shot anything. Just hope he's still here tomorrow. Yep. You might be on to something, homie. You might be on to something. You could drop shot swim baits. You could drop shot worms, creature baits, beaver baits. Any plastic, you can drop shot it, and it works. So if you put a swim bait on here, this makes sense because the fish are swimming, and that's what this is doing. Even though your weight is on the ground, it makes sense for a fish to be in the water and swimming as you're doing your drop shot, not a worm. What I do with my worms and other plastics like creature baits, beaver baits, I'm putting it down here. So it's still gonna dance, but it's only gonna go about that far from the ground. If you ever see a crawfish don't swim. Like they can swim backwards, but it's not for a long period of time and it's not very far up. So they're gonna jump backwards and you see them like jump backwards and then they go back down to a rock. So they're only going about this far for the rock. Same with a worm. If you get down to a rock and your weight's down there, you want it on there. This is what worms do. And they sit there and they move, they wiggle on rock. Might go up a little bit and come down as he's trying to. That's natural. A worm up here, nowhere near natural. And I think the fish see that. It's out of the ordinary. I think fish know when things are weird. To me, it's weird. So I know to them, they haven't seen it like naturally before. They may see it since they've, been around and people may be fishing long worms, but I'm not comfortable with it. I've had more success dropping a worm or any plastic, imitating a worm or crawfish down lower to the weight. Swim baits, soft swim baits, small swim baits, a little higher. It makes sense. And I've caught so many more fish since I dropped it down. I can't even tell you the difference. And it eventually started kicking in and making sense why they were biting that bait that was lower down to the weight. So, it's something you could give a try. It may not work for you. You may be somewhere where it's higher and they bite it. One time this will work is if you do have grass. If you have your weight in the grass and it's sitting on top of the grass, then that makes sense because it's just going to sit on top. You have fish in the grass looking up at it, and then you have fish suspended looking down at it. So you kill two birds with one stone, and you have, you double the pleasure. You give them what they want, and you're in the middle of two types of bass, or if you don't know where they are, that's a good way to find them. So with that being said, drop shot is the last one. Like I said, one of my favorites. You could drop shot anything. Try it lower. Let me know how it does. For me, it works wonders. And you should have some more success. So before I go, one thing that kind of sucks this time of year is people need to slow down. Fishermen go out there, and when they realize how slow you have to fish, it kills them because they came off, the fall bite when they're chasing bait fish or bait balls, and you just cast and reel, and they're getting 30 to 50 fish a day. And then the next month comes when it drops and they hit that certain point of weather where they just stop. And the only way to catch them is for you to just sit out there with your hand in your pocket, holding a pole in your arm, not really doing anything. The way I kind of prepare myself for that is I fish like that all year round anyway. So let's say the fish are active and you're fishing slow like you would in the winter. They're still going to bite your bait. I believe you have a better chance of getting bit because you still keep it around them longer than you would if you were just reeling and retrieving real quick. The slower you reel, the longer it's in strike zone and the longer the fish see it. I do that year round. January comes, I'm fishing slow. February, all the way to June, to September, to December, I'm fishing slow, no matter what I'm using, no matter what. I haven't came across to where I had to speed fish, so I haven't done it. And until then, I'm going to fish my baits slow as I can. Even if I'm cranking, I'm going to crank slow as I can without it being too high to the surface, especially colder months because they may not be that high feeding up, but I'm going to fish slow no matter what. Jerkbait, fishing it slow, I'm letting it pause. 10, 15, 20 seconds. Jigging, it's a slow way to fish anyway. Couple pops, drop, let it sit, 5 seconds. Pop, drop, let it sit, 10 seconds. Drop shot, finesse, slow way of fishing anyway. Ned rig, slow fishing anyway. Jig, slow fishing anyway. So after this winter, now that we're finna get into winter, give a try just fishing slow no matter what time of year it is anyway. Kind of fish it like you're fishing on a bed. That's like a bed you can't see. You throw it out, usually you have your bait on the bed and you play with it, you let it jump and wiggle until the fish hit it. Do that now without seeing a fish and see what happens. Going into next year, do it. In the summer, do it and see what happens. So that's how I'm in the video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was a little informative. Like I said, it's not trying to tell anybody to change their way of fishing or anything like that. This is basically giving you guys insight on what I like to do and some things I've changed that really helped me out in the fishing game and get more bites year round, 365 days out the year. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be having more videos come soon. Like I said, I don't do many of these. A lot of my videos are just footage and show you guys what I'm doing, but I hope you enjoyed. Please comment, thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe. Any questions, any insight, I'll take it. Just tell me anything, write it down. So please comment, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Hook setters.